It's him. There is no way it's him.
Well, it is James.
The DNA tells us that it was his DNA on you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Crime Circus. My name's Drip Drop, and I'm your host. This interrogation right here is must-see, and if you think you've already seen it on another news channel, you haven't seen it if I wasn't in the intro. If I'm not in it, it doesn't count. You know it's always a better viewing experience right here at Crime Circus. Now, about this case. In 2016, Sherripapini claimed to have been abducted, and then she mysteriously showed back up at her family's house 3 weeks later on Thanksgiving. It was a long 5-year investigation into her alleged abduction. She showed up with bruises and other injuries and a tall tale about what happened to her, and it was a big mystery for a long time. But 5 years later, the state of California decided to charge her about lying about her abduction. This is the real-life Gone Girl. For those of you that haven't seen it, that's a Ben Affleck movie, and it's really good. Anyways, what we have here is an explosive must-see interrogation. And if I say it's must-see, then it's must-see. Trust me, I know about interrogations, and this one's a really good one. That's why it's being uploaded right here on Crime Circus as requested by Exanly Sphinx. When a subscriber, supporter, or circus family member comes to me with a request, I don't care if the news has already posted it. Because I love my circus family and I do what my circus family asks of me. Anyways, please consider supporting this show on Patreon, YouTube membership, Cash App, super thanks button down below the video, or any other way you feel like. Liking, commenting, watching, sharing. There's a lot of ways to support a YouTube creator, and it's all greatly appreciated. It's equal love all around. Just know y'all keep me going and I appreciate it. We're at about the 1-year anniversary here at Crime Circus. It's crazy how fast the time flies. I gave a little shout out a couple videos ago to everybody struggling or going through anything, and I got a lot of heartfelt responses, and I plan on getting back to each one of you. But as I release more videos and as this channel grows, it takes me a little more time to get back to people nowadays. But I'm always Drip Drop, this is always Crime Circus, and I'm always here for my circus family. So leave me another comment down below. Anyways, let's see what Sherri has to say for herself as she's confronted by detectives in Northern California.
Incredibly long road.
Yeah.
But some stuff's come up. So we've always had the DNA out there in the world.
Sorry, Tom, before we get too far, obviously, just like always, thank you for coming. We appreciate you taking the time to come talk to us.
Yeah.
As always, your presence here is voluntary.
Yeah.
You can go at any time, and all we want is truthful statements because it's a crime to lie to federal officers.
Wow, yeah. Oh, that's good.
Understood?
Yeah.
Sorry, forget about that part. So there's always been DNA out there, and we've done testing after testing. We've gone out to like the Parabon, which is a private company who does all like the genetics, and we've just hit wall after wall after wall. But recently, we found a familial DNA hit. So what that does, it just tells us it came from a certain person. So like the mother or the father or a son or an uncle or however that is, it just hits that like somewhere in this family tree is where the DNA comes from.
Okay.
So with that, we open up the investigation. We go into who could it be within the family. So once we started opening up those doors and looking through the family members and just trying to see Facebook stalking them, criminal histories, just that normal investigation that we do once we start looking into things, we started finding some interesting things.
Okay.
So one of the things that came out to us, is there anything in there that looks
Of interest or notable?
interest or?
And that's an awkward photo, but
Yeah.
no.
So the picture's a little grained out. So
To me, I see a table there that somewhat looks like something you described to me in the past, and then I see wood paneling Talking about the room.
Yeah, we noted both of those things back in August
Yeah.
2017. Is when we spoke with you about, and you showed us this picture of the table.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that, Sherri?
Yes, I do.
And so when we were trolling through this, Facebook page, we saw just the edge of that table.
Yeah.
Denise caught it, in fact.
Oh, cool.
Denise said, "Hey, Peter, look at this table." And I was like, "Oh wait, you're right."
Yeah.
And it has the wood paneling.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, well, where was that photo taken, right? And so we were trying to figure that out.
So,
Okay.
so that's led us obviously now to obviously this Facebook page has a person. It's got like people tagged into it, so it has, so Peter has a.
But that's still a valid memory, right? Is that this was the table?
Yeah.
A table like this was the table you were on when you were branded?
And we've been talking about that a lot because so many memories are so faded now.
It's been a long time.
It's been a really long time. So, like, details and things like that, we did the best that we could to take notes on it and all of that, but a lot of it's really hard.
Sure.
It's hard to think about.
So
Yeah, no, I see both of those from what she told me. So.
Okay. So that was of interest. With that, we started looking at different people and who might be involved and just trying to figure it out. And I wanted to show you this picture. And obviously, people can change their weight, people can change the color of their hair. Don't. Just because the photo might be a little bit different, as you know, women like to change their hair and their makeup, their weight can change, so that might be a little bit different. But we wanted to take a look at this six-pack and see if you recognize anybody, see these 6 photos. You don't feel like you have to provide an answer. There's no right or wrong answer. Just let us know if you see anybody in this photo that you do recognize, and if you do, we'll talk about how. Okay. Keith, if you could just wait not to say anything until that way we don't influence.
I don't think so.
So nobody jumps out.
I mean, this one a little bit, but
Can you say this one a little bit? Which number is it?
number 3.
And when you're ready, I'll show you.
Nothing's really like,
There's nothing in there that says, "Oh yeah, that's her."
no.
Okay.
Like trying to picture her with different hair and stuff.
That's a pleasant group of people.
and again, Keith, you just
Same thing.
Do you have a tissue? It's hard because the other photos are distracting me. Can you give me another piece of paper, if you don't mind?
Another piece?
Yeah, I want to
Set this
cover.
upside down?
Yes. I want to look at them one by one.
Sure.
It's easier. It's a little distracting. There we go. Thank you. She's got that puffy under those eyes, but I don't know. This is really hard.
Take your time.
I mean, for her, like I said, if it's even close, it's worth telling you guys, obviously, to look at it, right? Or
well, no, it's
does
just
it need to?
obviously we know they're masked. We know there's already hurdles to come about.
Just another tool, another way to
just another, and obviously because you don't know the people. If you knew the people, then we can show pictures, but
Let me try that trick with this one. That's a little easier. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it makes it harder when you're looking at like a crowd of.
Like Peter said, different color hair and dyes and all that kind of stuff.
Just like I'm trying not to get my hopes up. I would say right here is what's drawing me to this photo.
So on photo number 5,
Yeah.
Smarty, this is the first one we showed you. The second one we showed you. So on 6-pack number 2,
But like you were saying, if someone were to lose weight, that would change.
you're drawn to photo number 5.
Yes,
Features of photo number 5.
correct.
and again, just for the record and for when you go back, like number 1 is when you say 3 is similar. She's similar to the younger female that we've always described in everything.
This part right here doesn't really match what I'm remembering, but
The
yes.
hairline doesn't match.
Smaller one, older one.
And just because it's been a long time, can you remind me what the younger one did, like the main parts of it compared to the older one, just for the last, like clarity of stuff? So for the record, so
The younger one's the one that let me go
Okay.
and was the nicer of the two.
Okay.
The older one was really abusive and really mean and is the one that did all the really terrible things.
and that's my memory too. Just trying to reference it for our notes and. when we go
Just so we
back.
don't have to say, oh, she was referring to the second interview back in
Yes.
2017.
Hard. I've given them those names in my head, but they're really cool. They're not good.
Is number 3 alive in that photo? Jesus.
And then one more.
Actually, let's see here. I don't think anyone in this one really.
So for 6-pack number 3, nobody.
I don't think so.
So we have more pictures. That's not the end of the road. So like I said, with the female DNA, obviously we saw that first picture that has the wood paneling and
Yes.
got the table, right? So that's ultimately what led us to those pictures, which then snowballed us down the road that we're eventually at and where we are.
So were you able to find like where that house is?
Yes.
And what?
So-
Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
That's where I was going next.
Do the top 1 or 2.
And may I ask, how did we even get to that point? How did we get that photo? Based off.
Familia DNA.
So they came back and said, oh, here's some people related in this
There's
familiar.
about 40 people total.
That's a good thing, I guess.
But 40 is better than.
You just started going through and then
130, whatever the
boom,
numbers.
that caught your eye. Which-
Yeah, we started looking at everything that we could. Phones, online presence,
Cool.
criminal history, Facebook photos, DMV photo, what did
Happy
they
to hear you
drive.
guys are still on.
And like he said, Denise is obviously, you guys are aware, Denise is at
Yeah.
a different location now. She's the one that found that picture, so we cast a wide net to start finding certain aspects.
Is she still working on the case even though she's in?
Not officially, but I always call her and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
I love her so much. I'm
But yeah,
so
she's still
sad.
working on it in an informal way.
So,
So if you look at this
Oh.
closet,
Shit.
obviously,
no-
there's stuff in there now.
I'm not looking at the stuff.
I literally was cleaning papers out yesterday and found that drawing that you did. I haven't even looked at the picture yet, but I've seen it out where can I look at it?
you remember this
I
drawing?
mean,
Yes! I just found the original one of that I was trying to explain.
it's a little bit different, but it's pretty, excuse my language, it's pretty fucking similar. But it's different.
What's different or what's
Yeah.
the same?
It's hard, there's a lot of shit in the photos, but
Well, let's focus on let's focus on those two because there's less color. I've walked the streets with my wife's in Mexico and we went to
Yeah.
every shop because of the color changes. No, nothing, not because there was anything new in it, just the color.
Now, can I ask a question? Is this from the same house as that?
We don't
We'll get to that.
Okay.
What you see in this photo, Sherri? Like what? You said it looks very similar. What's
I mean,
similar?
this is what I'm remembering, that feeling, you know, grabbing it and feeling that feeling. But this part is different. This part is different. That definitely
So you're
doesn't
saying
look
this
the
metal
same.
part it looks the same as what you remember, but this piece right here,
This part doesn't look the same, right?
and what was the difference in it?
That there was a lot more. There was a lot more
Like
there.
bulkier?
Yes,
Reinforced
thank
or
you.
something?
I don't think the pictures really show.
If I
Maybe look at
is it more metal or like beefier, like
If you look
stronger?
at this side of it a little bit more.
It's basically the width of a plywood, a sheet of plywood.
Oh.
It's like a piece of plywood almost.
It didn't look like that.
Yeah, it looks blown up, so it makes it look like it's that thick, but it's about like 3/4
Yeah,
inch somewhere.
it's probably like half inch. It's
Half
almost
inch. Okay, yeah, this looks big in the picture.
It didn't look like that.
Okay, but similar. Besides the metal part, anything else similar?
I mean, the metal part?
What about one shelf versus two shelves?
Oh. I think there was 2 shelves, but now I'm having trouble remembering. I think there was 2. I'm pretty sure there was 2. Maybe there was 2? I don't know. I'm focusing on this part right now, sorry.
Sure. So, that's fine. Window. With the wood paneling. Trying to ignore the TV and stuff. I don't think you had a TV with you, right?
Definitely not. What am I looking for the window? Do you want to know if it's like the same height? If
Well,
it's
the type of window, the wall itself, anything from these photos that make you believe that this was where you were being held.
I feel like this wood paneling is too thick, but I mean,
You mean this
there
way?
was wood paneling, but I can't remember something like that being there. And I don't remember
That's fine.
it going all the way up to the window is what I'm having trouble remembering.
The window in that photo has holes along the edges.
There's holes.
You know
I
what you
just
mean by
don't-
that, right?
Hold on a second here.
We're going fast. Sorry.
We don't mean to overwhelm you. We're just trying to draw your attention to different things that maybe we noted, and we want to know how that compares with what you.
The window
Remember.
compared to the wood paneling, because it getting just, I mean, that's probably important.
I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk or not, but the obvious is those are screw holes, right? Is that what you were getting at?
They're just holes.
Holes, screw, nail, something.
For the board.
Shit.
So is it fair to say that the paneling, like wood paneling below and sheetrock above, is what you remember, but you can't recall details about the ledge and
And I
the
can't
difference
remember
in
if it
width of
actually
these,
went up to the window. That's
Okay.
exactly what I was drawn to, is that this is touching the
how it
window.
meets the window
And I don't,
threshold?
yeah,
Okay,
something's going funky with that. Something
Sure.
seems,
Well, and those pictures could be one before or after. Well, I don't know about
Or it
after.
could be off base.
that, and
Yeah.
it couldn't even be a detail that's flipping important.
So far, it was pretty good.
So one of the things that we always noted in the bathroom description is just the weird layout of the bathroom. So do you remember the layout of the bathroom?
Yes, well,
Let's talk about the best description, and then we'll start showing some
but
pictures.
there's door, toilet, sink, tub. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
so you walk in
layout
the
that
door,
is it?
first there's a toilet,
Yes,
On the
remember which side?
if I'm,
She's a
It's
word
been a while.
rules with just in general.
I am, I don't know.
But whatever, you walk in the door, on one left or right, you have a toilet, then,
I wanna say it's on the left. I'm sorry.
that's fine,
I wanna say toilet on the left.
okay, so maybe a toilet on the left,
Okay, hold on. Toilet on the side.
toilet on the side, and then what's
Toilet
next?
on the side. Sink. Tub.
Okay,
And that's a unique thing about bathrooms.
Yes.
We all
Yep.
agree with that.
hard to change where that
Said that
sewer will go,
day
right?
one.
It takes some expense to do that.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's the first
Yeah.
one, not the second.
I keep turning it upside down. Let's get it all up. Spin it upside down. Alright, now I'm ready.
Well, that's just pleasant.
Don't pay attention to the magazine.
I mean,
Is that the first thing that you
Yeah.
found?
gross. Come on, guys.
We were talking about the order.
That's a lot on there
We
or
were
something.
talking about the order. Plus, the magazine's not open, so
I
you're good.
mean, this doesn't look like the bathroom to me, but the order is, yes, this is the type of order, but this is not what it looked like to me.
And
So the order is correct, but you don't recognize the bathroom as being what you recall. Do you remember there was a detail about the shower that you provided previously? About the type of something on the tile or something like that? Do you remember
That
any
there
of
was
those?
tile in the tub, there was a crack.
Where was the crack? It's not a memory test. If you don't remember, that's fine. But we remembered that detail when we took some of these poses, and we were just trying to bump it up against what you might remember.
I don't know.
In general, are we talking about? Okay.
Fine.
That's okay. You take your time.
I don't know. I remember there's a crack, I'm not.
So for like trying to, do you remember if it was high or low? Was it any of those like details?
Horizontal, vertical. One tile, lots of tiles.
not sure if I'm supposed to. Can I talk or not?
Sure.
Yeah.
Unless she does do shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm trying to like get myself there and
Just
I don't-
as a reminder, I do remember when we went to my grandma's house. You didn't like her tile because it reminded you of that. I think I sent.
You sent us a picture.
Yes.
That's why I would say we.
That's why I just want to remind her because if you think of that, because I can't even think of what her tile looks like right now, but I do remember you didn't like that at all. But I can't remember the crack. I remember you told me the crack, but I don't remember what you told me.
I
Or
don't.
else I'd bring it up. But
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so nervous of like saying something that's not gonna be right. So I just can't remember. I don't
Like I said
know.
at the beginning, we only want the truth, and so whatever is the best
I think ultimately
understanding or memory that you have.
we'll get there today.
And my direction is obviously not the best.
So then this is starting to,
That doesn't look right to me. But
So this crack is in a different location than this crack, which is probably better viewed in this photo. But this is the same bathroom we showed you, the
this is the
original, the same one with the
charming magazine on the.
Sports Illustrated.
Great.
Yes.
you get that in your reaches.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing jumps out at you at that photo?
We're not trying to overwhelm you. Obviously, it's been a long road and here we are.
If we could go back to the closet really quick though, I remember when you were talking about being chained in this closet and trying to figure out a way to get loose. You talked about working on a screw, right?
Uh-huh.
And what happened to that screw when you were done with it?
I dug a hole in the wall and poked it into the wall.
Okay. Because this is an interesting photo as well.
Is this in the closet?
That's in the closet.
No, it was drywall.
It was into the drywall.
It was into drywall, but
By the electric plug, if I remember right.
Okay. So maybe not that one.
So, we're showing you all of this because ultimately this is the house that you were at. We talked to the people who lived there. We found the house. We found who was involved. We talked to who was involved. We talked to family who knows that you were there, and talked to a couple people talked to one guy who did see you during this event. Unfortunately, there's a lot of truths. There's a lot of things that were said that we have always confirmed. That we've always said. There's a lot of truths, and then there's some unknowns. Like one of the simple ones, like, well, this description of the bathroom is just weird. Like that was like an argument in all of our offices where we were sitting there like this part's weird. But then we find a house with it. Then the all thread through the thing, that's just weird.
It's unique to this place. Like that's a pretty custom. You can't just go out to IKEA and buy a closet that looks like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So once we have all those things and we start talking to the person who lives here, who had lived there, who still lives there, start talking to his family and starting that whole investigation, peeling one thing back after another, doing the same thing we've done for the last 4 years. It led us to a specific person, but not a female. It led us to the car that picked you up, but not an SUV. So there's lots of different aspects that are truths and falses. And we're to the point now that nobody would have ever imagined that this would have blown up the way that it did. So I've been a cop 15 years. I've never seen the media scale that this garnered pretty quickly. How long have you been in law enforcement now?
12 years in the Bureau.
So, like, of the minds, Brian, who's been around 20 plus years, people have been in my office for like 25, 30 plus years. The media attention that this got out was insane. So I think with that being said, some choices and some decisions ultimately changed the original path of what happened. I don't think anybody would have wished the media frenzy that occurred, like for this event, no matter what the situation, if it was a kid, because the media skewed so many facts. It brought so many people in from the woodwork that if we didn't have the woodwork, we wouldn't have the noise.
And that brings a lot of pressure when you get that kind of scrutiny.
So we'd like to talk to you more about those things, and we can do it with Keith here, or we can ask Keith to leave. It's whatever you're comfortable with, so we can break down some of the problems. If you want Keith here, all we want is to have the truth. All we want is to be able to tell the truth. That's all we've ever wanted from day one. We talked with you for hours. We've been there. We've done all these different things, waiting for something, waiting for it to break, waiting for us to leak something to hear. Because the DNA came back, like I said, to a specific person. That specific person told us very specific things. His family then told us specific things. So if we can talk with Keith or without Keith here, what would you like? It's completely up to you. And like I've always said, I wanted you to have a voice. I wanted you to make decisions. I wanted you to control certain aspects. I think I told you that on the first interview we ever had. I never want to bully you. I never want you to believe I'm bullying you. I want you to take back control. That's one of those things. This is that take back control of the interview, which I promised you to do the first time we talked, if you remember that. Actually, we were in Mount Shasta, so the second time we talked.
It's been a long road, Sherri, but we just want to talk to you. We can have Keith step out if that's going to make you more comfortable.
But it's up to you.
Do you want to step out or do you want to stay?
Obviously, I want to stay.
Or we can do a little bit of both. Talk to you alone first and then have him come back in.
It's completely up to you. And that's why I'm not even looking at Keith. I don't care about your opinion, Keith. What we want out of this is the truth. So we can get ahead of some things, so we can help control things, how crazy things got. So the unknown of if I say certain things, what's Keith's reaction? Because you don't know what I'm going to say, right? So I don't know Keith's reaction either. So if I say other things like, oh, Keith won't worry about that, he can come back in. But I'd rather give you the opportunity to hear things, be able to judge it, because at everything, right, I'm saying things to you that are making you nervous. It's making Keith nervous. It's changing the element, right? We changed the tone of the interview.
You can feel it already in the room from the way you walked in to what you're feeling right now.
Well, I mean, law enforcement has always been an issue, so.
Okay.
So if you want Keith to leave, I'll ask Keith nicely to leave. If you don't want Keith to leave, then he can sit there.
Let's press on. Press on.
And we'll move on to the next stages. But I want to give you that opportunity first. But obviously everything's fearful. If you tell him to leave and what I'm going to say is benign, then we can pull him back in the room. Like, hey, Keith, come back in. This is what we talked about. So that fear of him wigging out. Why is she trying to hide something from me? There is none. If you can help me.
Yeah, there's no trick here. We're just trying to make sure that you're as comfortable to talk as you can be to talk to us truthfully.
They're asking you, they're not asking me. Obviously, I would want to be here and whatever needs to come out.
And you can change your mind in the future too. If you
But no
want to
matter
change,
what, it's going to get out. So.
like I said in the beginning, you're free to go. So if you wanted to chat with them privately, that's fine too. But we want to talk to you.
And we can leave the room, give you guys the room for a couple minutes. This next stage of things could be benign, could be like, we forgot to tell you this, or oh yeah, all of these things make sense now. I can tell you the puzzle that makes it all come together, or I can tell the puzzle that crashes everything apart. I don't know what that piece is, honestly. All I know is facts. All I know is certain specific items that will either tear the castle down or is going to build the castle up. And I don't want to tear the castle down and not give you the ability to then fix your own castle, even if it's just a small thing here or it's the whole castle. I want you to be able to choose that. So we can step out of the room, let you guys talk, because I don't know what information I'm going to do, if it's life-changing news or if it's, oh yeah, everything's fine. I just don't know what it is. Usually, right, we show the pictures because everybody's invested in this picture. Keith do the drawings. Keith's the one who gave this stuff. So Keith has always been a part of your memory for small details. And that's why Keith's been in here this whole time. And that's why.
He makes me feel safe in you.
Well, if he
Absolutely.
makes you feel safe too, we can continue on. You can
Can I
change my.
talk to him?
Absolutely. And again, I just don't know what the pieces are. So if I would say, hey, this is gonna bring the whole world down, I'd tell you, it's not bring the whole world down. And then we need to talk alone. Or I would suggest we talk alone. But that's completely up to you guys because I don't know.
I just want to talk to him.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
You need to stop waiting for me to tell you the truth. I don't want you to yeah, whatever you
Why is that? I don't give a shit about that. I don't want them to find her. I don't want them to find her. I don't want her to be arrested. I don't want to press charges on her. I don't want to find her.
explain to me right now that
I don't know. I don't want them to find her. You're not listening
but
to
tell
me
me why.
because she saved my life.
But tell me, honey, there's obviously something going on. There's obviously something going on. This is gonna be really bad if you're not telling me.
Look at I'm talking right now. I am fucking with you.
No, I'm not fucking with you.
I don't want them to find her. I don't want to press charges, and I don't want to go down that road.
But you tell her.
I don't want to go down that road. I don't
Tell
want
me
to
why.
arrest her because she saved my life, and she's the reason why I get to hold my children every single day.
And this you don't want to get into.
I don't want them to
But what do you
find
want?
her. I don't know.
What did you
I don't want them to arrest her
Why?
because she saved my life.
So you don't press charges. They still need to find out who it is. No matter what happens, you think just sits here. This comes out, they found the house, it's over, whatever happened is over. And it doesn't matter what you say, the girl's gonna get in trouble. So, you need to tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. If you don't wanna press charges, then that's up to you. You're not making sense to me. To the point where I'm getting scared now. So you need to tell me what's going on. Yeah. Let me tell him later. Thank you. That's just, do you want me in the room or not?
And obviously,
Hopefully you've had a chance to chat briefly.
the fears,
Later, maybe. But I'd rather you just answer the question.
nothing that I'll say to you, I won't eventually tell him if you want me to.
Do you want me to just tell him what your fears are?
We would love to hear what you're hearing. Because we want to be able to address them as best we can.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like you're in the driver's seat right now.
I think it's easier to control things once you know what the information is, to be honest with you, Sherri. So I can tell you what it is, say what it is when Keith leaves, and then you can say yes or no, whether or not you want him in there for the rest of it.
Right now, he's just, am I in the room or am I out of the room? So that's the.
And I'm to the point where if you want him here, we'll just go on with the conversation.
As long as you're not interrupting or causing any disturbance.
I'll stay over here.
But if he steps out, I can say a name, and then you can choose whether you want him in here for the rest of it or not. It's completely up to you. Or I can just continue on, and again, like I said, I wanted you to always have control over certain aspects of stuff. We're not to a point where anybody's going to jail yet. We're not to a point of anything like that. We're just still at the talking stage. We're at the control stage.
You seem scared, Sherri.
No, it's not scary.
What is it? When you don't answer, Sherri, it makes me concerned because I want to hear what your answers are and I want to be able to understand.
The only way to control things is for us to know.
I don't want you to find her.
We're not going to find her.
She's the reason why I get to see my children every day.
I agree, but we're not going to find her.
She's the reason? What do you mean by that?
She means the younger one let her go. Right? That's what you're referring to? We're not going to find her. And we can just skip to the rock into the water and ruffle up the pond if we want to now. Again, this is your last opportunity. This is the last time if you want to do this alone or with Keith. Keith's been through this also on a different level. So I'm ready I'm ready to move on and throw the dart and throw the rock and see what happens to the water. But Sherri, look at me. What do you want?
I don't want her to get in trouble.
She's not going to get in trouble. So the DNA came back to James Reyes.
The DNA that was on you belongs to James Reyes.
The picture, and can I get the picture? The picture of the table is James Reyes' little brother who died recently. We talked to him. He's been on a polygraph. We talked to everybody around him. We have the rental agreements, phone rental, the car rental agreements. We have everything that says that he told the truth.
That's James' brother, deceased Nick.
So everything, you've told us so many truths in this situation. The reason why you can describe the room is because you stayed in the room in the dark for hours, for days on end. The reason why you lost so much weight is because you stopped eating. The reason why you got a rash on your arm was because you cleaned his house. The reason why the brand is because he went to the store, bought the branding tools, and branded you. The reason why your nose was broke is because of a hockey stick. I know all of those things, and I know there was no sex. I know all of that because he passed a polygraph test that said it's not an abduction. She asked me to come get her.
No.
I rented a car,
No.
drove up and picked her up. He passed the polygraph test, Sherri.
If that's not what happened, what did happen, Sherri?
I don't know. No, there's no way. It's James. There's no way. There's no
The
way.
DNA doesn't lie.
His DNA,
His DNA was on you.
his
There's
brother,
no way.
Robert saw you in the house while you were down there. While everything
Who's
spun out of
Robert?
control, his cousin. Why everything ran out of control on the initial.
There's no way.
It's 100% Robert's or James's DNA.
Even collected blonde hairs from the room.
There's no way it's James. There's no way.
So why that it is.
Why are you saying it's not James? Why are you saying it's not?
He loved me.
What's up?
We were friends.
Mhm.
There's no way.
And he came and got you because you asked him.
No.
When was the last time you had contact with James?
His brother died.
Brother died in 2017. Is that right?
I don't remember.
Was it before or after the abduction? Before.
When was the last time you saw James?
Forever ago, when I lived in Southern California.
So the last person-to-person contact you had with him was back in 2006? When you were living in Southern California?
I don't know.
So
Was it prior to your marriage?
It's him. There is no way it's him.
it is James.
The DNA tells us that it was his
Well-
DNA on you.
The DNA alone says it's him. And when we talked to him, confronted him with the DNA,
He told us what happened.
he 100% told us what happened.
He gave us details that nobody else would know.
And we can call him and we can all talk about it. But ultimately, can you look at me for a second? Ultimately, we put him on a polygraph like we did Keith. Keith was inconclusive, to be honest with you, on whether he was involved or not. But 100% James was telling the truth. The questions were, did Sherri ask you to come pick her up? He answered yes. That was the truth on a polygraph. We asked him if the two of you ever had sex. The answer was no.
In 2016.
During 2016, during the abduction, he said no. That was the truth. We asked him if you asked him to brand you. The answer was yes. And he passed the polygraph on all of those questions. He took us to the stores where he bought the chain. We talked to the friend who rented the car. The car that he rented drove over 900 miles in a day on the drop-off point.
Sure, I know this is a lot to take in.
All
But
of
it's not
the-
like we don't know the answers to these questions.
And the fear of Keith's reaction, obviously now he's in the room, the fear of media, the fear of all of these things are coming forward, they're in front of you now. The only way to get a hold of it, the only way for everybody to come together and heal, the whole community has to heal, is for us to be able to say, when we presented all of the evidence, all of the stuff that came forward, you told us the truth. You told us what happened. Because you did go in a dark room, that's true. You did lay in the back seat of a car, that's true. You did lose weight, you were branded, your hair was cut, you did have bruises all over. But how those bruises got there are because you did it and James did something. The reason why your nose got broke is because you held the hockey stick to your face and he forced it into your nose. The reason why the brand is in a straight line is because he did it. He described exactly where it was. He told us exactly how he did it, where he did it, how he did it. Only you and I and maybe 5 other people know where the brand was. He told me immediately. Robert told friends and family you were there. His mom knew that you were there because of course it went news and everybody knew you guys dated. Everybody knew you guys had a relationship. So when it happened, of course, family reached out to him and he told them, yeah, she was here. But it said it hurt her, I didn't hurt her. So,
What are you thinking, Sherri?
That doesn't make any sense.
Why doesn't it make sense?
What actions doesn't make sense?
A lot of it doesn't make sense.
Can we talk about those?
No.
James' DNA was confirmed on your clothing. The two of you haven't seen each other in over a decade. You told me that you haven't been in his room, you haven't had contact with him in over 10 years. However,
You described his bedroom to a T.
and the DNA on you was still a vibrant piece of DNA. 10-year-old DNA dies. The DNA that was there specifically was non-seminal fluid, was seminal fractions. You got that from his house somewhere. So whether it was the bed that you were sleeping on, whether it was the couch, whether it was anywhere in there. When somebody would come to the door and be around the property, you would call James, James would call Robert, which lives 2 doors down. Robert would run people off the property. Robert told me all of that. James told me everything. So the only person that hasn't started telling us certain facts, there are certain facts that are true. When we were sitting there talking to James, there were so many truths that were a part of your story that it's hard to decipher the lies until we put it all together. Until he says, hey, how did you pick her up? I opened up the passenger side seat, I opened the door, you jumped in the back seat. Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? I don't know. It was weird. So are you calling James a liar? Are we not believing James what he told me?
No.
I know you're scared.
Cannot believe that it is James.
I can't believe James told us the truth. That's what I can't believe. He passed a polygraph, Sherri.
So did Keith.
No, he didn't. He was inconclusive. And he was involved.
So James is involved, but I don't.
James picked you up. You called James to pick you up. You mailed him a letter with your address. You used a burner phone to call another burner phone for James to come and get you.
You're saying since you're married, you haven't called James?
No, I have called James.
Because earlier you said you had contacted James. His phone records show that you do. You did. The phones don't lie, the DNA doesn't lie, Sherri.
His polygraph doesn't lie.
So you can go a couple different directions now.
His
I've
story.
already told you lying to me is a crime. So you walk out this door telling lies, and that's a crime.
I think we need my lawyer. This isn't making any sense.
What's not making sense, Sherri? The parts that
That
don't make
it's James.
No, the parts that don't make sense are that you're accusing 2 females who abducted you when it was James. The part that you were branded, James did it. He told me you did it. Who would sit there and say,
No.
I branded Sherri on her right shoulder blade? Who does that?
And told us how and showed us the letters that matched the brand.
Took us to the store and pointed out the letters. The problem is today's the case is resolved. The only things, well, how do we prove that you're telling us the truth? How do we prove that the truth is that 2 women took you, but I'm telling you it's a male? The fact that you were branded is true. The small fact is that you willingly laid down and did it versus being tied to a table. So we could do the polygraph and try to, whatever parts you're confused about.
Can you go? Is that what you said?
Can I talk to you outside real quick? I'm here to wait.
That's fine. The fears of how out of control everything got, the fear of all these things is the reality. And the only people that can slow the train down is you and I. You put yourself through this so when you came forward, you can tell certain stories. You missed. You couldn't control the DNA that we found. You couldn't control when we talked to James, he'd tell us what happened. The story always was hard for anybody to understand. the tragedy that the community went through, the events that unfolded, the fear now of what it all means. But there's without a doubt, James's DNA was on you. And
I cannot, no,
the
No.
likelihood of it being an ex-boyfriend is a problem.
no.
It's astronomical. Then you add in, when we go talk to people who never even heard of us, when we say, hey, what's going on here, they knew that you were at the house. All of them never came forward.
No.
No what? Do you want to call James? This was a long road. I had no idea where it was going to take me. But right now, continuing and saying that 2 girls took you is a lie to Peter. It's just a lie. Because we were able to prove it with evidence. With a rental car agreement, person driving to 1,000 miles in a day, the DNA on you, and him passing a polygraph, it's 3 legs to the table that can stand.
Kids can wait out there. Now's your opportunity. Based on your reaction previously, what you're telling me is you did not call James and ask him to come get you. Is that what you're saying? Because if that's what you're saying, I have to understand that. There are things he says that we can corroborate, and whatever you say, we're going to try and corroborate. But right now, I'm not sure what you're saying. You're just saying you can't believe it's him. And you're saying you don't understand. But there are details he provided. We know you were in his house. We collected hairs from that bedroom. That's going to have DNA on it. We already have your hairs that you left with your cell phone when you were picked up.
You have my DNA, obviously.
So that's not going to lie either. The descriptions you provided are that room and that house to a T, except it's not a gravel driveway. And it's not elevated. And there's not 2 women who live there.
James lives there.
James lives there.
You know James lives there.
So you might as well get it out of your head that James is not involved, because James is clearly involved. And James already told us he's the one that did the brain.
That's something that he admitted to mayhem. He admitted to a felony you can put him in prison over.
So it doesn't jive. So now it's your opportunity to say, were there issues between you and Keith? Is that why you needed to leave? I mean, we read your text message. We're already aware of some issues, but enlighten us if that's the case. If there was a valid reason for you to leave, let me know what that was.
James said you had your jaw broken by him. And that's why he came and got you, because you were in an abusive relationship.
I love my husband.
So, were you in an abusive relationship with him? Have you told other people in your life that, like China, that Keith has abused you in the past when that wasn't true? China told me that day 2, where there was an incident at a party that you got hurt playing, like, I don't know, Wii or Pictionary or something, and then you told other friends that Keith hurt you. When there was witnesses at the party that said that you got hurt during a party. But then you go tell James that you were being hurt, you were being abused, and you couldn't come forward because Keith has friends in law enforcement. If all of is that true? Has Keith ever been abusive towards you?
We are not talking about my husband. I love my husband.
So why leave? Is James lying to us?
I want to leave my husband. I want to be with my children. I would never leave my children.
But
You didn't leave them permanently. You came back to them. Ultimately,
No.
you left them every day at daycare, so it's not like, hey. James talked about that decision when you were driving down, how hard that was. You left at 10 o'clock knowing that Keith was gonna get home late, knowing you were gonna leave the kids at daycare, and how much that tore you up on the drive down. You told us that. Then things got out of control.
James and I talked about that. We did talk about that before. When I went out of town from work.
What happened?
When we was talking to other guys. Oh my god, why did I do that?
Like when you were in Eureka, you give him a call, just start chatting with him, told him some of your problems. When did it turn from just chatting to his plan to get away?
No.
You were getting a hold of Donovan Minsky the night before.
Why did I do that?
We're trying to understand why you did that too.
We're trying to understand all of it.
I don't know how this is happening because I was doing that.
Doing
This
what?
is an awful choice. Talking to other guys that has got me here.
So what aspect are you saying? Like how does talking to other people got you here? We've gotten
I love
over.
my husband. I love my husband and I make mistakes and I talk to other men that I shouldn't have.
But we took it a step farther this time.
This is a little different than just chatting with them. I appreciate you talking and being forthright about the other guys you were talking to. When did it turn into something more? Obviously, you never would have imagined that CNN in 2020 and Good Morning America would care about you wanting to leave Keith or wanting to teach him a lesson or wanting to get him in line.
No, I was just talking to James and you don't want to leave my husband.
Right,
I love my husband.
how are you
just talking to James.
How are you talking to James?
I don't want to leave my husband.
Sure. How were you talking to James? on your cell phone or another cell phone?
We work so hard. I don't want to leave my husband. I don't want to leave my husband.
This was more
What's
like
your-
just a flirt.
What's your work cell phone number?
Remember?
What's that?
I don't remember.
How long were you guys talking?
I don't know.
Why would he rent a car and come and get you?
I don't know.
Well, if you don't know that, why would you get in a car and go down to Costa Mesa?
Those are all things we can verify, Sherri. The car rental, the fuel, the mileage, the calls from you to him, the burner phone, all of that can be proven.
Horrible.
I don't think you're a horrible person, Sherri. I think things went a little sideways on you.
We started this conversation, knew what this was going to turn into. I didn't know that I'd have people staying on boxes in front of my office. That Keith would be on 2020.
I want my husband. I want my children. I'm so stupid for talking to other guys.
But why did James come and get me? I know you guys were talking. I know you've said in the past that Keith has hurt you to other friends. Why tell them those details if that stuff's not true? It's one thing to talk. It's one thing to talk. It's another thing to say abuse is occurring. Everybody I talk to about James says he's the nicest person in the whole world. Yeah, he may be a hockey player, but he is the nicest person in the world. He's nice to a fault. I know lots of people. I don't know anybody I'd rent a car for and drive 9 hours for. Keith, James did that for you. He
I
never,
was helping you.
he never asked you why. He never questioned anything.
You never put reward money on the line.
He never asked for anything. He didn't ask for sexual relations. He didn't ask for a relationship after you. He didn't ask for anything. He's never even talked to you since.
And yet he stayed quiet until now.
And the only reason why he talked is because we have his DNA. That's the only reason why we got to his door. That's the only thing that led us to his closet. That's the only thing that led us to the bathroom. That's goofy. And that's the only reason why he started talking to us. Once he showed us the bedroom and we started pointing out the holes in the wall, like, you used to have this boarded up, huh? And he said, yeah.
Sherri asked me to put boards up.
Nobody's ever going to be able to answer why decisions were made.
Except for James. I don't understand.
You don't understand what? What parts are you not
Sherri.
understanding?
He even showed us, Sherri, he even showed us the letters that were used for the brain and the numbers. I have pictures of them right here. This
What
the
is
set that was used?
What did the Bible verse mean to you?
How would you have known that?
Why did you pick that Bible verse? Did James pick the Bible verse? We need to be able to control the outcome and what's going to happen next. The only thing we know that's going to happen right now is what you can tell us and what you can shed light on, and for other people to be able to try to understand. If it was a mistake, it was a mistake. But at this point, not telling us what happened, not telling us the truth is another mistake. It's a mistake on top of a mistake. Right now, we can start over. We can end. We can leave without a dirty conscience, without the what's going to happen next. Right now,
Deep down inside, Sherri, I know you know what's right and what you should do, and you should come clean.
Why did you ask James to come get you? You asked Donovan the night before to come meet up with you. Everything happened at once. You were asking
What a stupid thing to do.
The thing about it is we were able to prove that Donovan never came up here. But now we can prove that James did. We have the records to prove it. Although you might not think it was a good idea now, 2020 hindsight. At the time, why did you ask him to come pick you up? Was that an I don't know? What's that?
Can't be James.
It is James. We can
Sherri, the DNA doesn't lie. His DNA was on you. Your DNA is going to be in that room.
1 in septillion is James. I don't even know how many zeros septillion is, to be honest with you.
That's why, despite your description of how far you might have gone in the car, we already went down there. We knocked on his door. We took those pictures. He understood that the DNA didn't lie, so he came clean. Now it's your chance to do the same. And if you don't, you're going to be shaking your head later and say, I should have told him what happened.
Talk to me like that.
Like what?
There's so many fears right now that we can't even wrap our head around it. There's too many unknowns that we can't control. We can't control what the media is going to do. We can't control what everybody's going to think. The only thing we can control right now is to control that James told us the truth, and that's a yes or a no. What did James lie about? What did James lie to us about? Of the things I've told you.
I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I just don't know. there's just no way it can be James. I just don't know. I don't know.
It is James. That's not even a question anymore.
We know you were in that room. That's already clear.
You described everything in the room.
What you're saying is it wasn't James that came and picked you up by the mailboxes? Is that what you're saying? There's still two females? Is that what you're saying, Sherri?
At the end of everything, once you had to have known that this was going to come at some point.
I was talking to my mom.
What's that?
This is all my fault. I was talking to these many guys.
Well, we know.
Such a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, but then how did we get to Costa Rica or Costa Mesa? Or, how did we get to LA? There's a big jump and a leap from talking to men to getting in a car with somebody. But that getting into a car with somebody is somebody you had a relationship with. He told us about the abortion. He told us about your guys' relationship. He told us about things that I don't know if you've ever told anybody about. He told us so many things. And he did it all for you. Nobody else. He got nothing out of this.
And you're welcome to go home, Sherri. But right now is your opportunity to tell us the truth. And
Can't be.
are you saying that it was two females that picked you up? What's that? Every time I ask that question, it seems like you don't answer it.
This can't be happening.
We sat in a room, you drew out two people in a sketch, Sherri. Are those two people the ones that took you? It's a yes or no?
I don't know.
Well, you were pretty clear when I asked you earlier, what did the younger one do? You said the younger one pointed a gun at you.
She was there.
She wasn't. It was just James.
Puppy.
James was 2 hours late.
We have the rental records from 2016 for the vehicle that he used.
Why?
Because we went and looked for it because he told me.
Because I was talking to him.
That's clear. You're talking to him.
This is my fault because I was talking to him. This can't.
We have to control what we can control. We're to the point, did the younger female that you've always described, is she the one that pointed a gun at you? Is that true or not?
Oh, no.
You do know, you told me earlier. So earlier today, when we were talking, I asked you what did the younger one do? You told me the younger one pointed a gun at you and let you go. That's what you said.
She let me go.
And you let yourself go. You let yourself out of the backseat. Never even said bye to James. Never a thank you, never a nothing. Just an out.
No.
Yeah, that's what James told me. Until you can start telling me that James is a liar and start pointing things out, James passed a polygraph.
This is my fault. It's my fault that I was fucking to him. It's my fault that I was flirting with other men. It was such a stupid thing to do. I love my husband.
Flirting with
I love my children.
That's understandable.
It's just stupid.
Here's the deal though, Sherri. Flirting with other men, not a crime. Lying to me today, yes, a crime. Big difference.
Telling your story of what happened to you isn't a crime.
And I know you're scared of what Keith is going to say and do, what's going to happen with you and your family. Those are real concerns. But we also need to understand the truth. And you're in the best position to give us that. You keep saying that it can't be him. The DNA doesn't lie. It's him.
You were talking to
And
him.
now's the opportunity for you to tell us.
I was talking to him.
And we've
I
talked.
started talking again when his brother died.
Okay.
You started
That makes
talking
sense.
again what?
When her brother died.
Oh, sure.
And that makes sense. The problem we have is the actions after the talking, after the flirting. There was a big difference between talking on the phone and getting in a car with somebody. So are you saying that James got two females to kidnap you? Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? So if James's DNA is on
I
you,
don't know.
are you? So either we're still saying the younger girl pointed a gun at you, or we're saying we don't know. You've already told me that today, that a younger girl pointed a gun at you.
You said you didn't want her to get caught. So are we still talking that the female let you go?
That's where we're at. And I don't know doesn't add clarity on simple questions, Sherri. But a very easy question. Did James pick you up? You told me earlier that girl pointed a gun at you. Is that detail, which one's true? It's only one. Only one of those are true, Sherri. You've told both of them. I've told one, you've told the other. Which one's true? Does James need to go to jail for all the stuff that you asked him to do?
I did not ask for this.
No, nobody asked for this. Sherri, I believe you. Nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for ABC News to park out in your driveway.
There was no way you could have predicted that this was going to blow up into be as big as it was. Not even God thought it was going to turn into this big. Even when he first got the call, he didn't think that CNN and ABC and everybody was going to care.
I'm going to find Sherri in a couple of days because I found Donovan. I found the people some of the people you're talking to. I've never known about your work cell phone.
Stupid.
But we're beyond that small discretion.
Stupid.
We've talked about that discretion. We've talked about Donovan, right? Remember?
So stupid.
We talked about Donovan.
So stupid.
Who picked you up? Was it James or was it a female that pointed a gun at you? Can you please answer that? You're shaking your head no.
I will not get. I'm not talking to you about that. I'm not going to get anybody in trouble. I've told you before, I do not want anyone to get in trouble.
Well, you're going to get yourself in trouble at this point. That's where we're at. So either James.
I didn't do anything wrong.
I know you didn't do anything wrong. Right now, you're not telling the truth, which is doing something wrong. That's where we're at. James put himself on a polygraph. Talked to FBI agents. He talked with Peter and I for 6 hours.
I don't understand.
He told us everything, Sherri. You told us so many truths because you put yourself through.
They're not true.
They were true. You're
But
absolutely
you don't
right.
want to talk about the women.
So, but the one.
You're saying that it's James.
No, I'm
We're
not.
saying James's DNA was on you. We know you were in that room at his house.
Then who
So the
was
question
the
is-
woman? Then who was the woman?
Well,
Okay.
the
That's why
woman.
we're asking you. It
Did
was
the
a
woman
woman.
put a pointed gun at you and put you in the car? Yes or no? Is that where we're at?
Don't remember.
You don't remember if a female pointed a gun at you and put you in the car? Is that what you're saying, Sherri?
I've always told you I don't remember getting in the car. I've always told you I don't remember getting in the car.
Right. But did a female point a gun at you? Yes or no?
Remember.
Yes or no? It's not a remember thing. You've already told me that today.
You know who she is. I know you do.
It was always
You
Keith.
know who she is.
Yeah,
No,
the
you
lady we
don't.
showed you is another raise. No, I know James opened the door for you. Whether you want to forget how you got in the car, I'm okay with that. But you've already established today. That's why I asked you today. What did the younger girl do? You said she let me go and she pointed a gun at me. We didn't talk about how you got in the car. Right now, I'm asking you: did a younger female point a gun at you? Yes or no? What?
I know you know who she is. I'm
We're
not
on the
saying
wrong-
it. I don't want her to get in trouble.
She's not
I know
getting in trouble.
you know who she is.
You're getting in trouble.
I am not. I didn't do anything.
Right? But right now, answer this one question. Did a female point a gun at you, yes or no?
I am done speaking to you until I talk to a lawyer. I will not arrest her. I am with my children because of her.
I'm disappointed, Sherri.
I don't understand. There is no way that there's a chance he loved me.
You did vote. I agree.
Sherri, if you want to talk to your attorney, that's fine. We can wrap this up. If you want to keep talking to us, that's a separate story. But you said you wanted to talk to your attorney, so like I said from the beginning, you're free to go and you can go. I would ask you one more question, just for your own welfare. Do you feel like harming yourself?
For the welfare.
Do you feel like harming yourself?
No, I just hug my children and go home.
Okay. Well, you're free to go and do that. If you change your mind, you want to come forward and talk to us.
This is all my fault because I talked to other men. This cannot be.
You might have come and serve a doctor.
Alright. I'm the idiot husband that stayed around the whole time.
Well, there's not, it's still, we can't tell you a lot, honestly. I don't know what, I told Phil to let you know some of the details, some of the stuff going out.
Can you, I mean, from my side, I feel like, my whole world's gonna flip upside down again. Why is that? Why am I always getting held out of things? Like, why can't you just hit me with it?
I did, I told
I
you,
know, yeah.
because this happened Monday. We're-
No, you're saying you can't tell me all this stuff.
It's still an ongoing investigation, so you're not going to find out answers. I mean, there's just, that's the way it is.
Can you help me, didn't throw me a bone and then go, I mean, she made it up, is that where we're going, right? Or is she trying to come up with a whole nother?
We're not going to give you any additional details. Obviously, you've heard the questions, so you can
Yeah.
read through some of those and understand. You've seen some of the photos,
Yeah.
so you know some of the
Well,
investigative
obviously you saw me, I was like, yeah, we found him.
And we did.
Yeah,
But you can also notice your reaction compared to her reaction.
no, 100%. That's what I'm saying from my side, but now you're telling me, okay, you guys can go home now. Well, do you think I want her anywhere around my kids or around me at all at this point?
And again, we've talked a lot. I don't know what the next stages of this are. That's why,
It's not
that's
us
why-
together, I tell you that one.
whatever those decisions are, I don't know.
But we can all agree that she's not over there, then obviously if somebody can do something like that to their body and try to trick everybody that they're probably not fit to.
It was 4 years ago.
We can't get into that, but I would say, obviously, we are concerned about the welfare. We don't want any kind of domestic dispute between you two. We also don't want,
So give me a quick not legal advice, give me from a sheriff. If I don't want her in my house tonight, what options do I have?
You have to get restraining orders. You have to get legal stuff.
Jesus. I'm gonna tell her she has to go to her sister's or something. I mean, she's not going to my house tonight, and I got a call. The next stage of this, please give me the courtesy of telling me when you're gonna announce it so I cannot be at my home.
Probably tonight.
Oh, god damn, you're going quick. Well, I thought you said it's ongoing now.
well,
We have to,
we gotta talk about that, but
it's gonna happen quick.
I understand. He was thinking tomorrow. I was like, okay,
He
that'll be
blew
enough
up
time.
everybody in LA. So there's a hornet's nest in LA.
Mhm.
It only takes one person to go and say, hey, I know what actually happened. I want 10 grand. And now they run to LA News.
Yeah.
It blows up without our control.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know the strategy. We still have to we had to get through this before we can get there. But this,
Is there anything you can tell me next? I thought you said you were going to tell me something when I came back in. I'm like,
the person that we talked to down there is absolutely involved.
no, I know
Absolutely
that.
everything.
I know that.
So
I've never
that's
given
what
you
I'm
guys that guy's number, so I thought.
So that's where we're at.
And then what did she say?
we're just gonna ask you to be patient, let it play out. I know it's gonna be really hard, but it also makes it easier for you.
Kids do though.
The little kids aren't gonna ask you as much as the media will,
No, I
and the family members, your own family members.
No,
And you can look at them with a straight face and say, look, they're not telling me yet.
but like, even Kettle right now, I was like, well, you guys can give her a ride in the house. I don't even want her in my car right now.
I don't know what Kel said. I wasn't
And that's what he told me.
figure it out with Kel.
I'm assuming we could arrange for her to get there if that's what has to happen.
Because I need to make some phone. If you're gonna release it that soon, I'd like to call him.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I can call you today. I'm gonna go from this to another meeting, and that meeting's gonna lead to another meeting, and that meeting's gonna lead to another meeting, and then we'll be figuring stuff out.
Are you saying you want us to help you with transport for her?
I
To get it back
think
to the
so.
house?
I don't think. I mean, you got to give me a couple. I thought you guys were gonna call me back in here with her. So,
Well, she has to leave, so
Oh.
she's free to leave if she wants.
so I think we'll talk, and we'll probably. She's probably not gonna talk in here, so we'll probably go out to the car, and then I'll be like, I'm not going anywhere with you until.
If you guys want to check out the car and come back up and tell us if you need assistance, let us know.
You have my
I
number.
appreciate that. I think I'm handling pretty good. I didn't punch any walls or nothing.
We appreciate that.
I'm in shock. Okay. Alright, thank you.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Sherri's interrogation in Northern California. Detectives turned up the heat on her with her false abduction that she claimed happened in 2016 when she returned on Thanksgiving with all her bruises. The reality is she was probably having a really great time hanging out at her ex-boyfriend's house for those 3 weeks. Yes, that's where she was hiding out. She dipped out on her family to hang out with her ex-boyfriend. How many of you out there could imagine yourself doing that to your lover, or your loved one doing that to you? What would be the consequences of those actions? Is the relationship savable after your loved one has done a Gone Girl? Anyways, I'm always interested in your input, thoughts, ideas. Leave them down below. The state of California pressed charges against Sherri for this false abduction, and she was recently sentenced to 18 months in prison. Do you think that's a fair sentence? Do you think she should have got no time, a little less time, or even more time? What is the proper consequence for somebody that's committed this crime of lying to detectives and faking their own abduction? Leave me a comment down below, let me know. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and Crime Circus Cult. That's my second channel. I've got a lot of good videos over there, like the Gail Spencer series from Macon, Georgia. I'm going to leave a link down below in the description and in the pinned comment. Please subscribe to both circus channels. They're both really good. I would know. I'm hosting both, and I upload all the videos on both, and I answer all the comments on both, and I do all the editing on both. Anyways, please support this show if you're able to. If not, no worries. I'll still be presenting these videos for as long as I can. And until next time, remember to stay safe out there, because you know it's a dangerous world.